Right. Welcome back to the B.A.D podcast. It's actually the B.A.D podcast today.
Yep.
Because we have Derek. It was just the B.A.D podcast. So let's give a round of applause to have Derek back.
Yeah. Nice.
Welcome. Thanks. We're so glad to have you back.
I know you guys missed me.
Okay.
How is your mouth?
It's great. Better.
Glad to hear
I think we're healed up now.
Welcome to the B.A.D podcast with Derek, Brad, and Austin, where we talk about random shit, and that's it.
Okay, let's go.
We know you missed that.
It's so ridiculous every time.
It reminded me. Did
like
you
the
see
worst intro ever?
Did you see my reel when I played that sound?
Ew.
We found a sound on for reels where it's like, and it sounds like it's a plane about to start, and then it's like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, it's like they're gonna say something over the intercom.
What did you do with it?
It was Monday motivation, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go,
I think I posted that one on like Black Friday.
When you're like in the store or something.
Yeah, it was like when it's time to go Black Friday shopping.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
The announcement.
So what have you been doing these past 2 weeks?
What, without my mouth?
No, since you weren't here. Do you want to fill everyone in on your life?
Well, I just no.
I mean, he was here.
Well, no,
Why did
that
I
one
miss-
week he was gone. The first
One
week
week
he
I
was
was
gone
gone
traveling.
because we were traveling. Yeah, we were in Texas.
Yeah, and then
I
you
don't know
missed.
where exactly we were in Texas. Maybe we were in Austin.
And then you missed last week because of the herpes outbreak in your mouth.
I had herpes. Yeah,
or an allergic reaction.
early onset herpes. No. Yeah, I don't know. I literally don't know what ingredient is in toothpaste, but it's happened before where I've used a certain kind, and then like a few days later, I have just like an outbreak of blisters on my tongue.
I feel like you should like test it out and figure out what it is.
Yeah,
because I mean,
I've never done like an allergen test, like to find out if you're allergic to anything.
Me
Never
either.
done that.
but you think you know which toothpaste it is, right? So
It's like the Pro Health ones that like are like gum sensitive Pro Health type ones. Like anytime I've used those.
Gums.
So yeah, now I know to just stay away from those.
yeah, I wonder if you just compared it to like one you use right now, like what the different ingredients are. But I feel like
gums.
toothpaste they have tons of ingredients in there.
I know. So it's like now I'm just like, well,
That's
I know what I use and I can use. So I'm just gonna stick with it.
Speaking of toothpaste,
That's a suck.
do you know that? Have you ever seen like how the toothpaste have like multiple different colors, and when you squirt it, it like stays that way, no matter if you like squeeze the tube, like whatever you do to the tube,
They're like
it always stays the same.
green and white.
The green and white, or you know what I mean, like the
I don't
stripes.
think I've ever tried to like mix it in the tube though. So
But you can't. So,
have you tried it? I've never tried to do that.
I've never
well, no, people do.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, I watched a video on why it works like that. Essentially, it comes down to like physics and the way that whenever it's closed in that tube and no air is touching it, like they stay. No matter how you try to like combine them, they won't combine. Like they just won't mix. So if unless you cut the bottom off to like literally mix it, it will always come out that way. And they're like piped into the tube, like bottom down, like in those layers. So
Even when the
it's
toothpaste
actually really cool.
is almost running out and you twist it.
Yeah, no matter what you do, as long as air is not exposed to it, it won't mix.
Austin's gonna be at home like
If
mixing
air's
this
not
shit.
exposed, but if you open the cap, then air's exposed.
Air's not exposed. It's exposed to that end.
Okay.
So, I mean,
You meant the inside of the tube.
yeah, but like you said, as long as there's not air on the inside of the tube.
I don't think
so.
any toothpaste I use right now is like multicolored anyway.
No.
Really?
No, mine's just blue.
I have
I
a stripe.
use, it's a Crest
3D Pro Health.
3D whitening.
Oh,
Not Pro
whitening.
Health.
I know.
Pro Health is what
The
fucks
Pro
me
Health will
up.
mess up your mouth.
I know. That's why I said that.
But yeah, so I just thought of that whenever we were talking about toothpaste. So everyone really enjoyed the business podcast. I think anything that we can talk about, that just is, I guess, a little bit more of self-improvement or like along those lines. People really like that. So I finished Atomic Habits, which I know that y'all knew I was reading it, and I had an hour left, and I had jumped over to another book, and I was like, I need to finish it today. And it was actually really interesting today to hear about because it kind of brings in something that I wanted to talk to you guys about. And it's like with this new thing where everyone kind of wants to be a social media influencer or everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, it really talks about like how you may not be cut out for that.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this, but they actually tracked genetics to whether you were going to be an introvert or an extrovert. In a hospital, they could play a loud noise and babies would either roll towards the noise or away from the noise. And they tracked those babies through the course of their life. And it And it 100% was spot on whether they were introverts or extroverts.
Interesting.
The extroverted babies
cool.
went
Rolled
towards
away.
the noise,
Oh, really?
and
Yeah.
the introverted babies rolled away. Yeah, introverted, you want to be away from it. But so they actually have like found that like your genetics actually play a role in personality traits. You know, the 5 major ones. I think it says like introverted, extroverted, like anxiety or like go with the flow. Like all that stuff really came down to genetics. And then he brought up an Olympic runner and Michael Phelps. And everyone knows Michael Phelps because he had like the most gold medals. I don't know if he still does. Simone Biles may have passed him because she has a ton. But
I don't remember.
In one
Maybe.
Olympics, he does.
yeah, so Michael Phelps and this Olympic runner have the same inseam, like pants inseam. So they literally have the same size legs, essentially, is what's going on. But Michael Phelps is 6'4", and this runner is like 5'7" or something like that.
So he's
So
got long legs and a short torso.
right, so the runner has long legs and a short torso, which is great. He has Olympic golds in the 1500 meter and the 5000 meter, so like mid range running, and then obviously Michael Phelps, great at swimming. So he brought up the fact that even though they have the exact same inseam, if they swapped places, they would do terrible in each respective sport.
Yeah.
The average size height of an Olympic gold medal swimmer is 6'4".
Yeah.
And the average height of a Olympic
boys.
medal runner is like 5'8" or something like that.
I'd like to know their wingspan too, because they have long ass.
Oh
arms.
yeah, and that's what they talked about. They said Michael Phelps' upper body. Obviously, if his legs are the same size as somebody's 5'7", his upper body is just astronomically longer. So that was his kind of way of saying that, like, just because you really want to do something, you may not be able to do it.
Yeah. You're not cut out for it.
Yeah, but what he did bring up is the guy that did the Dilbert cartoons.
No idea.
But so just imagine cartoons in general, right? So the guy
Yeah.
was in the top 25% of the world in drawing. He was also
Like
in the top
newspaper cartoons?
Yeah, newspaper cartoons. He was also top 25% in the world in being like a comedian. So he's better than most people. But because he was good at both things, he became like very, he found a niche by being good at multiple things. He created his own,
Right.
area to shine.
Yeah.
I don't think there were a lot of people doing those kind of cartoons. So, you look at the cat, Garfield, like those kind of people. So it's saying that like maybe you may be like not that great at a bunch of things, but together you are elite because there's not many people that are really good at drawing and really good at telling jokes.
Yeah.
And so that kind of like brought into the thing. But I just wanted to bring that up because like I know we've talked a lot about like entrepreneurship and things like that, and just like some people aren't cut out to be entrepreneurs. So I just thought that was very interesting when I was reading through the books and how he kind of talks about that. So definitely still recommend that book. But do you have anyone that you know of that you feel like that?
I guess I have questions.
Yeah.
And I guess what are the traits that like what makes somebody not cut out to be an entrepreneur? Like what is it kind of like?
What does he say, I guess, in the book?
Well, I don't think that he doesn't relate it to entrepreneurship.
Okay.
He just relates it to like life in general. Like no matter how much
you're just connecting it to entrepreneurship.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like you look at me and you'd be like, no matter how much I want to be a pro, I don't know anything,
Right.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just not cut out to do it. And even if I practiced and tried, like I wouldn't be able to do
Okay,
it.
I see what you're saying. So and
It's kind of like against
you're
the
really
whole
saying-
adage of like,
right.
you can do anything you want to do. That's not true. It's really not true.
right, and and like social media is giving these people a false sense of like I can do this when in reality,
Yeah. Well, and on top of that, a lot of people see someone's life on social media and they go, well, they'll be like, this is easy, or I want that life. So that in order to get that life, I need to do social media. But there's other ways to have the same life that don't involve being an influencer.
I talked to one of my teammates is in an MBA program at North Carolina right now. I talk to him a lot, and he tells me all the time like his professors are like they basically just like disregard most social media brands or like people that start brands on social media thinking they're entrepreneurs just because it's not the same as like a true business venture or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying all of them, right? Because I mean, there definitely are those, but
Well, like, I mean, you can look at, I think you can start to tell the difference between what's a influencer brand and like what's a legitimate business that someone's building, right? You look at someone like Gymshark and they've made it a legitimate business.
Right.
Maybe he didn't know what he was doing, but he brought in, I think that's part
he
of
took a step back from doing it himself,
Right.
and then put a CEO and a board in place, and like that's when Gymshark really
took off.
Yeah.
Right. And I think there's plenty of brands that started out as influencer brands that have grown into like actual businesses. But I think that really comes to the difference between like hype and just having your social media following behind it, and then building a legitimate
and the
business behind it.
decisions the owners make.
Right.
So
Right.
it's like, yeah.
But I mean, I think that it takes a certain type of entrepreneur to realize that like I'm not suited to take this company where it could go, and I need to step back and bring in help to get it there. So I mean, that's a difficult thing to think about. Like, I need to take one step back to take 5 steps forward,
right?
Because a lot of people aren't willing to take that back. And another thing that I talked to Austin about last night is there's a lot of people that would do really great if they would just keep going. So, I mean, I'm sure you've heard the whole adage of like, like don't stop. You could be on the cusp of your breakthrough. But Austin and I were talking, we have a few friends that like, they have great ideas and they'll actually like execute, which is something that a lot of people don't do. They'll actually get the idea started. But then when they don't get the results of someone that's in year 4 or 5 of the same thing, they quit. Yeah. And I wanted to talk about this because we both have firsthand experience with this, with Motive. Like, how discouraged have you been? Just, I mean, be honest about this stuff. And I know that we've reflected on it and we're in a different position, but in the moment, like knowing what you know by running operations for Alpha Elite, and then after our first few launches for Motive, I want you to just talk through that and just like, because I think people will gain a lot of insight from it. So
well, I guess for me, like our first year of actual Motive was kind of disappointing because we didn't even release any product. We spent an entire year like just developing everything. I think that was hard for me because I was like, dang, why is this taking so long? Like, I'm used to just like, go. So that was pretty difficult for me.
Which no one sees.
Like,
right.
Right. Especially like, I mean, I left Alpha Elite, we started Motive, and like, it was like just that for me. So it was like, fuck, like, did I make the right choice? Like, is this...
It's like a lot of waiting around.
Right, waiting around. Yeah. Like, we still haven't taken anything from Motive. Like, we don't have any income from Motive. So it's like...
And I don't think we will for probably at least another couple of years, really.
Yeah,
so
depending on how things go. So yeah, that was like a little discouraging at first, but I think it's like... I mean, we've all had this conversation, like, let's take a step back and like stop comparing ourselves to other brands. Like,
exactly.
See where we're at in the process, and just see, like, take a look at like what hurdles we've overcome and things that we've had to face. And yeah, I mean, it was definitely hard, but I think we're just, even looking at last year, our first year of actual sales, I mean, that was pretty, I mean, we had our ups and downs throughout the year, and I think we were all like discouraged at certain releases. And for me, it was hard not to compare to Alpha Elite, but like, Alpha Elite was such a launch-based company. Like, there was always these huge spikes and then like huge valleys. Whereas us, it was discouraging. Like, when we would have a launch and like we wouldn't have that huge spike. So I'd be like, fuck, like, what are we doing different, or what are we doing wrong? What do we need to do? But in reality, like, we would have a spike and then we would hold momentum a lot longer than these other brands that I'm used to. So that was really encouraging to see. It made me feel like we have like a quality product that's like people are coming back, or like, we're doing a good job at just keeping people active on our site or bringing them to our product. So I really, it's really just, you have to self-reflect a little bit, like as a brand and as a person. You just step back and like, okay, what do we need to do? Like, are we overthinking this?
It's funny because we all know the old adage, like, don't compare your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 10. And like, we've all heard it
to each other,
and we all, but you still do it.
Yeah.
And I think that a little bit of it is healthy because it is healthy to gauge other people's success and to try to line it up. But you are like 100% correct that you can't line up your success at year 1 to someone's success at year 5. And also I want to ask you a question that you're not prepared for. How have you taken it? When you started with us, it was during COVID, like the peak of COVID. Like, you actually came early because COVID shut things down. Yep. And because of that, a lot more people were spending time on the internet and on social media. So your first probably 6 to 8 months here was like videos that were 5 to 10,000 views on YouTube, and everything was like clicking. We also weren't going out as much, so we're very available for recording. So now, being a year later, where things are returning to some kind of normal, whether that's the new normal, whatever it is, but it is, people are out and about, not spending as much time on social media. Like, how have you handled, the fact that the YouTube views are down, but that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong, but there's the fact that like it's harder to gain that attention. So like, how's that been for you, just that whole process?
Yeah. So when I first came here, like you said, it was kind of the start of COVID and everything boomed. Like, it was crazy just kind of watching the views just kind of go off. And it just was really interesting because I've never been really a part of something where you can directly see like your work pay off, in previous jobs, we would do stuff and it was like, it wasn't a direct representation of how you did, I guess. So, and then I guess transitioning like again, April of 2021 was kind of when it started to slow down a lot. And, like you said, it's hard at first to see your numbers go down and then kind of, I guess, just be okay with it. Like everything ebbs and flows. You're going to have your peak seasons and you're going to have your bottoms, and you just have to ride through it all.
Yeah. And I think that's the issue, is that a lot of people give up in that bottom because they were used to a certain level of success. And I actually know that, I watch Twitch streams a lot, and I heard the people on Twitch, even Nick Merckx, who people made comments because he happened to switch to a different video game in the middle of it all too. So people blame that. But I knew really it was about the fact that people were just returning to work. They weren't working from home, so they couldn't have a Twitch stream up on their second monitor as much anymore. And they were back in the offices or whatever. So you maybe couldn't have Twitch open at all in your office. So
I think another thing also I wanted to touch on is like your first few years. I mean, we're still going through this. So like your first few years as a company, you're still trying to find your like brand identity.
Yeah.
Which is something that I think we're with Motive, you're comparing yourself to these other brands, and when in reality, you're not the same as these other brands at all. And I think that goes to say for like any business you start, like, once you find your brand identity, then it becomes a lot easier to like, realize your vision. And I think with Motive, we're kind of like, we're finally like getting on that, we're finding our identity as that brand. And so, yeah, I don't know.
No, yeah, I agree with you. I think that,
what was the original question?
Well, it's just like, how do you not, get wrapped up in the whole idea of like comparing yourself to someone else's journey?
Once you find your identity as a brand, you don't really care about like what everybody else is doing. It's like, okay, we know what we're doing now. So like we're on our path.
Yeah, and I think another issue too is that, when you compare yourself to these brands that are 5, 6, 7 years in, you look at their 5 years in of launching products, but they had a whole year, maybe even longer, like we did, of like actually like getting things in the flow. And the hardest part's finding good suppliers. Yeah. So, once they have, 5, 7 years in, you've got a couple of good suppliers. And
I think we also probably picked the worst possible year to start a business. Because it was like 2020 COVID shutdowns, it was like a logistic nightmare.
Yeah, it has been difficult.
It's like, I think it was a hard time to even start a business in general. So like that even probably, it played a toll with how we felt.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I do want to celebrate. I mean, I don't, for sure. If you, I'm fine saying the revenue number. If you're,
I don't care.
So, I mean, we did over $750,000 in revenue. None of that got pulled out because it all stays in the company.
All of it literally went back straight into
it. And so all of it buys like the next releases and things like that. So we've actually paid for like 2 and 3 launches ahead of out. So there's a lot more. Yeah. So once we started that initial snowball, which I've already told everyone that we've put in like around 180,000 between all 3 of us, or 6, I guess, 3 couples to start Motive. Yeah. And then since then, it's just been like this snowball effect.
And I think that's another thing. Just some advice is like, don't worry about like pulling money out to like pay yourself. Like worry about paying the people that are, helping you get to where you need to be, and then investing that money back in your business. And I think people think, oh, I'm going to start a business, and then they're just going to be balling right off the bat because they're just going to like be able to pull revenue from like whenever they start selling. And when in reality, it's like, nope, you got to pay for this, you got to pay for that, you got to pay this person, you got to invest back in your business. So
It's actually why I don't like to talk too much about revenue numbers to people that don't understand businesses,
Right.
because when they hear $750,000 revenue, they hear, wow, you made $750,000. And it's like,
Right.
no, that $750,000 has to pay for product, pay for warehouses, pay for bins, pay for labor, pay for designers, pay for samples, pay for shipping.
Yep.
You know, like all that stuff goes into there. So really, you know, it's a much larger or a much smaller number that you actually profited on there. And then with us, like we don't really profit because it just rolls into the system.
I think even like if you're an employee of a business and you see your business's revenue and you think, oh, our company made this amount, like how come I didn't get a business? And it's like you also have to consider the business's overhead and like what they actually really profited at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of friends who are complaining about like not getting bonuses and things like that. And it's like, well, do you actually know what your company actually made?
Yeah, like bottom line
how
number, like
how
much
many
is it?
people do they have to bonus, and you know, things like that. So it was just an interesting conversation I had.
Well, I mean, you know, like Aubrey and I
So-
didn't pull any money. Like we didn't even put ourselves on salary for Fat and Weird for the first 18 months. Then after that, we were told by our CPA, like, hey, you guys need to be on a salary or else they're going to come after you, because Fat and Weird was profitable, even though we weren't pulling any money out and it was staying in. So we both are on a salary, but we withhold all of the salary for taxes except for like $5 a month. So I joke that we get paid $5 a month from Fat and Weird, which is actually, it's a true statement. That's all that goes to our bank account. But all the money stayed in Fat and Weird so that we could build the building that we're in now. And the addition that we're adding on for the cookie dough element of things. So I think a lot of people, you know, they see a business growing and expanding or making purchases, and they're like, oh, that business is like crushing it. And yeah, maybe the business is crushing it, but that doesn't mean the owner is necessarily like pulling money out and making lots of money.
Yeah.
So
I guess, definitely. I feel like that's a common misconception with being an entrepreneur or having a successful business right off the bat.
yeah. Well, I mean, we're looking at brands, and sometimes I forget how long they've been around because maybe they've pivoted into a different thing. Like maybe they started out in accessories, but now they have apparel, and you know, and I forget that they're really 4 years old, and this is their first like real booming year, you know. And so you look at it and you just forget sometimes how long people have been working. And even Alpha Elite, you know, you're like, dang, but really, I mean, Alpha Elite's been around for over 7 years, right? Or right around there.
2015. So
7 years. Yeah, right around 7 years. So,
It's a
you know,
long time.
and then, you know, people like take Balance Athletica. You're like, oh, wow, they're really huge. It's like, well, they've been around for 4 or 5 years too. So a lot of these companies that you want to compare yourself to are just very well established.
And that just goes back to your original statement is like, don't give up.
Yeah.
Or don't get discouraged to the point where you just like stop trying, because building something great takes time.
Yeah, I honestly think that it's actually a worse character trait to start and then quit than to just not start at all.
Yeah.
Because like I said, Austin and I were talking about a particular person, and it's like literally like 4 or 5 different businesses that I've seen them start, literally produce something for that business, but within maybe 2-3 weeks, it didn't take off like they wanted to. They're done.
Wow.
And so, and it's interesting because I'm like, if you took that energy, because starting the business is a hard part. Like you did the hardest part.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Yeah.
It's like
You
going
know.
to the gym. Hardest part is getting there.
Yeah.
Getting in there. Just
Yeah, it's like we want instant.
Gratification.
Yeah,
well,
and
and
like
that's
results.
Instant
You
results,
want
yeah.
results. Like
and that circles. Sorry, not to cut you
You're
off.
fine.
But like, that circles back to like the social media age, which people are so used to instant gratification with likes and comments, and then even like Amazon, people are so used to just getting stuff fast, and like everything is instant right now. So yeah, you don't get instant results, and you get discouraged.
you quit.
Yeah, and I think that the people that are going to be successful like later in life are the ones that like can persevere through those little things and learn along the way. Because if you're not getting the results you expected, it may be either something you're not doing right, or you just have unrealistic expectations. You know, at the end of the day, if you start a YouTube channel in 2022, you're not going to get you know, thousands of views on your YouTube videos when you first start, unless you've done a lot of homework and you happen to have like already a big social to drive people over there, or you just like really do something crazy on YouTube. But it's just very unexpected.
Here's a different take. What if these people who are starting these things and then quitting, what if they just find out like you said, they're just not cut out for it, or they just don't like it?
Yeah. I mean, that's
It's like,
also
not for me.
Yeah.
So then they stop.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing too. Is like I see people that try to grow social media followings, and then I'll talk to them, and they're like, "Yeah, I hate this."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, if you really hate it, then you shouldn't be doing it." Like when Aubrey and I, Aubrey and I weren't like, "I want to be a big social media following." Yeah, we did actively want to try to grow that audience, but what we really set out to do was, how can we help people with fitness? And I showed Austin some of our very first YouTube videos.
Today,
They're all like workouts, like trying to show workouts, like walk people through our workouts. And then there was like one had a whiteboard, and I was like I showed someone how to calculate their macros, because like we had a genuine care for like helping people in health and fitness. And that was like a subsequent thing that happens as you start helping people. So I think a lot of people, instead of, they look at what they want, the life they want, and they look at how someone else has done it, and then they try to mimic that instead of figuring out how else can I do something that I actually enjoy doing
what is I like
to get someone there, which is kind of what I was talking to you about. Like maybe you really like to draw and you are really funny, and you would never make it as just an artist, and you'd never make it as a stand-up comedian, but cartoons that like were a comedy, you would do great at it. So it's a way of finding something that you're good at in a couple different areas and then moving on from there, you know? So, you know, really good golfer, really good at video, but not good enough to like maybe do like one or the other, but you're like, oh, I can do golf edits all day long. It's just an example, you know? But like for you, maybe you're like, I'm not the fastest, so I'd never make it as like a track, like professional track athlete, but I'm really good at like coaching and I'm really good at track. So maybe I'll be a really good like track coach, you know? I think that's
Which
a way.
funny story. I almost was a track coach.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you enjoy coaching? I know Ashley does. So
maybe at this point in life, yes. But I think where I was back then, I was like a little nervous to do it. I feel like I've like opened up a lot more, and I guess, you know, with age you learn more.
And
so it's like
the imposter syndrome is a real thing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I definitely would feel like, I'm like, dang, like, can I be a coach? Like, what I going to teach these kids? Like, is it going to be right?
the more you learn about a subject, the less you feel confident about it, because you realize like how much information is out there, and you're like, oh man, I can't possibly know everything. So I think the more you feel like you're an imposter, I'm sure like now at video, you're probably like, wow, I know so much more than when I first started. Because you were very confident when you first interviewed. And I remember asking you questions like zebras, like you had no idea what zebras were. And I was like, oh man, I don't know. But now
the camera I shot on didn't have zebras.
Yeah, but so you never even knew about it, right?
The fuck are zebras?
Yeah, it's when the highlights are blown out.
I'm like, I'm like the printer.
But no, so how about that? Like, have you felt like the imposter syndrome at all through like video work now that you like know so
What's
much more?
the imposter syndrome?
The imposter syndrome is just like the more knowledgeable you've gotten in a subject, the less confident you feel in your ability to either teach someone or like talk about a subject. So like, for example,
I don't feel that way about video.
Doing what your job.
I don't feel that way about video. I would say that like the sports realm is kind of one of the things is like when we go golf and Jonathan and Mark are like, hey, how do I do this? And I'm like, oh shit. Like I know, but I know too much where it's like, they're not going to understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it's like,
so for me, like in imposter syndrome, working out would be like, I've only been working out for 1 year, but I'm willing to go up and talk to anyone and be like, oh, this is how you do this workout. And then as I've worked out now for like 12 years, I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to tell someone because maybe they know what they're doing, or maybe they know more than me, and I'm going to go over there and they're going to make me look stupid. You know what I mean? It'd be like getting into an argument with someone and you're like, wait.
It's overthinking.
It really is. It's almost like you just realize how much knowledge is out there and you go, oh shit, someone may know more than me, and B, like maybe I don't know what I'm talking about because someone knows this other intricate detail.
I definitely feel like there's always more than what I know.
That's how I think of it. I don't think I really don't think that I know it all. Never. It's like someone always knows more than me. Someone's done it before me. So I never go into anything with that kind of.
Yeah, that's what we talked about.
Belief,
like, I was like, someone's going to be more ripped than me. Someone's always going to have more money than me. Someone's always going to be smarter than me. So like, I'm not going to sit here and try to flex on any of that stuff because, you know, I'm just who I am, you know? But yeah, so I just found it interesting, you know, as I was going through that Atomic Habits, just to like hear him break that out. Cause he did talk about a lot, like finding your passion. And if you find something that you're passionate about and then you can monetize it, then you can live like a life. But really, instead of pursuing the money, pursue your happiness and figure out how you can be happy to make the money. I know a lot of people, they go, I want that house with this car and this this, like, how do I get, they care about getting there rather than what makes me happy. Can I monetize my happiness? You know?
Yeah.
So for me, like the mentorship stuff that I talked about, like I love helping people. I obviously love talking to people. Y'all know I can talk like all day. So it's like, how do I help people and then later figure out how to monetize it? Quit worrying about like trying to make the money on it. Like first figure out, can I do something I love? And then now how do I make money off of doing something I love? So I don't know, just a different.
Yeah. Going back to like, I guess the social media thing is like, I don't do it because I want to be famous or anything. I do it because it's fun.
Yeah.
I love making little reels and TikToks. Like last night when I was making mine, it was super fun. I always have fun with it. I never am like, oh dang, my reel has
That's kind of how I've
500 views. Who cares? Like I love it.
That's how I've been with like the reels that I've been making.
Yeah.
Too. It's like I think it's funny. I'm like, I literally don't care if anybody thinks it's funny. I'm
Exactly.
just laughing at myself.
But I think that's the best bet, right?
Yeah.
Because when you do that and it happens to pop off, you're like, oh, look, people understand my humor, or like, that's really great. And I think that's what I told Austin. I said I struggled so much with TikTok is because like I'm starting from scratch and I post a video and it gets like 400 views. And I'm like, bro, I literally could post like a picture of me like waving and I'd get 1,000 views on Instagram, you know? So it's just hard.
It's just different.
Yeah, it's just hard to feel like you're like starting over on another platform. But then I was like, you know what? Who cares? Like I'm sharing stuff. I'm sharing me. I'm sharing Scarlett. I'm just sharing stuff that I care about. And if you care about it too, great. If you don't, keep scrolling.
It's just consistency. I mean, like, all it takes is like one thing to go viral and then more people start looking at your shit.
I'm actually like really proud of Aubrey because when we sat down, she was like, I want to do something different on TikTok than Instagram. And so I was like, well, you can always share like SLP tips and stuff like that. And then she runs into the imposter syndrome because she's an excellent SLP, but she's like, if I share it on the internet, someone smarter than me may see it and tell me I'm wrong. Yeah. And that's kind of like the imposter syndrome. So, which obviously like, I doubt that someone's going to do that because she's really smart, but she's decided that she's like, you know what? I really love just like getting ready every morning. So I'm going to just do like getting ready with me TikTok videos, completely different than their Instagram content. And she's grown like 30,000 in a week.
Yeah. Dang.
And she's,
I think Ashley did say she was crushing it.
Yeah. And she's really enjoying it. And I guess I'm proud because she didn't listen to me and she's doing well. Yeah. Cause I was just like, hey, find out how to add value. And she is adding value though, through, her personality, design, entertainment, and people just enjoy doing it. So she is adding like an entertainment effort where I thought you needed to be educational because it is easier to be educational. You're going to get traction quicker most of the time. But no, just things like that, you know, just because you necessarily know a way, it's not the only way to do something. And that's something for me is sometimes I get stuck in being like, this is the way to do it. And I don't necessarily take into like what other people consider. And it goes back to she enjoys doing that.
Right.
Maybe she would have enjoyed the SLP stuff too, but she definitely enjoys that. And like I said, she's already doing it. So if you're already getting ready in the morning, now you're just filming it. So
it's like Ashley. She does the wine stuff.
I told her to do the wine stuff on TikTok.
She's like, I don't care if anybody likes it or not. I enjoy it. So I'm gonna do it.
But I told her to do it on TikTok because, you know, her background she's built. The background she built on Instagram. This is the hard part is when you build an audience on Instagram over a certain niche. This is a great advice for anyone. If you build a audience with a specific niche, if you try to change niche, TikTok and Instagram, all these people are going to show your audience those videos first. And because your audience isn't interested in it, it's not going to do that well going out. So I understand why people make their own separate fitness pages and things like that. Is because you are getting shown to that audience. So if that audience doesn't watch it and doesn't engage in it, it's dead.
Right.
It's killed it. So when you go to TikTok and you're like, I'm going to talk about wine and only be about wine, then you start gaining people that care about wine.
She builds it straight off wine. Yeah. Because I mean, we started off as like fitness, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's like all over the place. And I think it's like, it goes back to what we've talked about with like how the whole fitness vibe has died. And I think people just have changed in their lives. But maybe that is why people create.
So I did a poll.
The fitness.
Because we had taught that discussion. Yeah. And I don't know if you know that I did it. I did a question on my story. It was, what was it, about 2 weeks ago? I'm not making this up. I had over 400 people probably reply to me. And I asked the question, is fitness Instagram dead? And is it more like fitness and lifestyle? Or are we just phasing out of the hardcore fitness space because we've gotten older and a lot of us have kids or have moved on from this like very rigid fitness thing? And the answer is we've just moved on. Yeah. It's still there.
Yeah.
Because people sent me accounts and they're usually between 22
like-
and 26 years old, about the age that we started
We're
it.
just getting old, basically.
Is what happens. We're getting old. But I will tell you that the people that have started following us and they kind of grew with us, they appreciate what our content is growing into because their life has changed too.
Yeah.
So it's like a hard thing to do because I remember our engagement used to be January, February, March was booming because we were fitness and everyone's getting into the fitness.
Getting ready for summer.
Yeah. And now it's like sporadic.
Spring
We don't
break
really have as much of a
Spring break.
obvious time that it's going through.
So
but
that like goes back to what you said. Like, is it better to create these separate pages for like these niches that you want to talk about and focus on?
I think that if you want to grow a following specific to that niche, I would stay in that niche. If you want to build a brand that people actually care about you and not just the whatever you're giving them, then you need to be able to show your personality behind the scenes. Yeah, it's kind of like what I've talked about. There's a lot of times that like if you only knew someone and they only shared workouts and on their stories, they only shared workouts, they never shared about who they are, like you wouldn't feel a connection to them. You know, you may want to go meet them at an expo and be like, hey, I really appreciate the workouts you shared.
Yeah.
They've been helpful. But I don't think you would really like care if they were like, oh, I'm having a baby. You'd be like, okay. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't, you don't feel like you're a part of their life
today.
Yeah. Are you still going to put your workouts up every day or are you going to take a break? Cause I need to know, you know?
Yeah. I think fitness is really just such a small realm in the grand scheme of everything too.
Yeah.
There's so many different types of
I think it's like literally only like 1% of the like the fitness.
YouTube it is, I think, right? Like
Really?
YouTube is very tiny.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't be
I mean, there's
surprised.
so many like family lifestyle, like
True,
you think
yeah.
of, like
Think about fishing channels, golfing channels, DIY channels.
there's so much out there.
Yeah.
So
Travel.
Yeah, a lot of travel stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's
I just post whatever I want, be myself. I've never really cared about social media like that.
what we were talking about though is like, how do you attract people to care about who you are though, if you don't either entertain or add value? Which if you're an entertaining person, you know, like Aubrey's little try on things, then people will start to follow you just because like they find value in the clothes you're sharing and the entertainment aspect of it. But if you're just like sharing like day-to-day life, if you don't provide value or entertainment, then you'll just keep the market you currently have, but you won't be able to expand your market. So I guess that's my
It's
like
all about what you want.
and truthfully, if you don't care, it doesn't matter. You know, and I think that's truly, if you can get to a place where you're like, I don't care that this post will only get 5 likes, I hope to help one person.
Yeah.
That's when you really are going to, I feel like, truthfully see growth in social media because you'll be posting things that you care about. And later on, if your account grows, you're not stuck doing something you don't want to do. Yeah. There's so many times I've met someone, I'll bring up his name. The guy I showed you, Goody Beats, Logan Delgado, he got big off of keto. And I remember running into him and he's like, I don't want to do keto my whole life, but my entire following is keto. Like everything I do has to be keto. And so when you rabbit hole yourself into a niche like that, like you're stuck.
That would suck.
And so, you know, it'd be like growing an entire account based on like yoga. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I hate yoga. I'm going to do bodybuilding. And you start lifting. People are going to be like, I came here for yoga flows, you know?
What if you do both? Yoga, bodybuilding.
Exactly.
Body yoga. Yoga
That's
building.
what it is.
Yoga building. Yeah. You lift weights while you're in the warrior pose.
Yeah.
Downward dog kickbacks.
There's probably already something like that, to be honest.
Probably. They have a thing for everything.
Something for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably make that niche and see where it goes. Yeah. Someone may find it enjoyable. I know Aubrey incorporates both kind of like CrossFit Metcon style workouts into the bodybuilding stuff. And a lot of people really enjoy that because it's kind of like this whole idea of like, I am getting a caloric cardio part and I'm also getting, you know, the building muscle part.
Aesthetic, yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like she was one of the first ones I saw to like really do like take the Metcons from CrossFit and bring it over into her workouts. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess it's create your own niche. That's kind of what we talked about earlier.
Do you have a TikTok?
We have a group TikTok.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm. We have our friend.
Actually, he has like 3 TikToks. He has a TikTok for me and Aubrey that he runs, like just like with clips from videos and stuff we do, and then he has the Inner Circle one and the podcast one.
The Inner Circle, my personal one.
I don't have a TikTok.
Fat and Weird.
You really don't? You don't? Do you watch TikToks?
I literally don't even have the app.
But when we send them to you, how do you watch them?
It just pulls it up on like
on the
Safari.
browser.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's it.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about starting one just to see.
Yeah, I mean, you do a lot of really
post the same videos over there.
Yeah, take your viral videos from Instagram and just post them over there. I just think that like the hard part for you is consistency. You'll post like you'll be like on a roll and post like a reel a day, and then you'll go like 3 weeks without posting.
It was hard. I did like
holidays
like
too.
7 days over the holidays. It's just like I wanted to record while we were like, but we were literally traveling so much, and just I was like, dude, I don't want to do this right now.
I did tell Derek, or I did tell
into
Austin that like look up to you and like your ability to do reels. Like you find a sound you like, you have an idea, and like you go execute it. Like the one where like you were getting into the car and like you were like banging your knees and stuff, and then like you told me like when I pick up Ashley, I'm going to do this reel, and like you do it.
Yeah.
And I told Austin, I was like, the hardest part for me is sometimes I get caught up in like how I'm going to execute it, or I want it to look more professional, or I want it to be just right. But you like go do it, and even if it's not just right, you're like it's done.
I literally like because I don't want to waste a bunch of time on it. I just want to like post it if it's funny. So I think maybe I've done the most I've done is probably like 4 takes on something or 5 takes. I'm just like, I'm gonna find what fits and I'm gonna make it work. I don't know. You should have
like kept recording the video of Ashley last night. Derek did a reel where he like painted his eye purple like a black eye, and he was like, it was made a joke about she
only won because I lost. That's not a winner.
Yeah, essentially. And but then afterwards, Ashley was like, "Wait, where did you get that purple makeup and how'd you apply it?" He's like, "I just used my finger," and she was like mad.
I should tell her to send me that and just post it.
Yeah,
yeah,
because it was really funny. So I mean, there's
another one I recorded of her last night that I'm going to post tonight, and I was like. And then afterwards, I asked her, have you seen it's like, smile if you want to top me off. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't.
It's like, it's pretty funny.
How do you just spend a lot of time on reels?
No. Well,
how do you find out these sounds?
Yes,
you have to spend a lot of time on reels.
Okay. Sometimes at night when I'm high scrolling through reels, This is
every night. I'm sitting in my bed.
Bro, it hasn't been a while.
9.
Literally
what
last
do you mean?
night. Last night was the first night I've opened the reels in a long time.
Okay, I'll just say that I feel left out right now. If every night you two are texting each other, so wow. Okay,
back and forth.
Maybe we need to change the name to the A.D. podcast.
It's like 2 to 3. I send you
sometimes, but then sometimes it's bing, bing.
Sometimes
bing,
I go
bing.
on benders.
Yeah,
I think I send you some too. I don't know.
No, you don't. Like me, it's okay.
5 in a row.
I know where I stand in this friendship.
But I just try to. I don't know if I see something I think is funny, and then I'm just like, okay, I could probably make something with
that.
Ashley.
Yeah, save it if I think it's funny.
I have a sound that I found today that you definitely could use.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, anyway, it's like he's like, smile if you want to top me off to his girl or whatever, and then she starts laughing, and he's like, let's go. So I did that one to her, and then after I recorded it, like, I looked at her and I was like, do you even know what top me off means? And she was like, no. I was like, so then why did you like even go?
Why'd you laugh?
She was like, I don't know. I thought it meant. She's like, I knew it meant something dirty or stupid. So, yeah, well.
No, she just appeased you. She's like, I'll do this for you.
Yeah.
So
she knows when to laugh.
I think it helps because she's also a good like player. Like she doesn't get mad or like she thinks shit's funny too. So
yeah, most of Aubrey's videos that have gone viral involve me. Mm-hmm. And her, like, they don't even have her face in it. It's like she does something, and then it's just my reaction. Like when we were sitting on the couch, and she was like, "If my vagina was a car, what kind of car would it be?" One, because like both know Aubrey. Would you expect her ever to say something like that? You were just like, "Wait, what?"
I would be. If Ashley did anything like that, I'd be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. And then the other one is like when she was recording me, and she's like walked up and like put her hand out, and she didn't say anything, and I just like looked at her, and she just like put her hand out again, and I was like, I don't know what to do, so I was like. And I like reached for invisible candy and like just like ate it. It was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Literally has like 1 million views.
Shit, yeah.
So it was just,
I think that's why it's easy too, because it's like just random little bits of like stupid shit that anybody can do.
People think it's funny. Yeah.
It's not anything like serious or
that people will watch over and over.
Right.
Yeah. But I will say that we did talk about like reels and TikToks in general. And I don't think your brain was built for that because like, we were just talking like you'll see like a really sad video, like, I don't know, anything sad. And then next thing video you see, maybe it's like hilarious. And then all of a sudden you see like a video that makes you think and your brain like it's just getting like
all over the place.
Flooded with like all kinds of emotions. Like one emotion, you're crying because like a guy just came back from deployment and saw his son for the first time in like a year. The next video, you're laughing because like a couple pranked each other, and then all of a sudden it's like another video that's like
a roller coaster.
Yeah. And I was like, man, it can't be good for your brain because it's like dopamine, serotonin, like whatever, just like constantly like flooding your mind with different things.
Yeah, probably down the road, just straight face through it all. Just
I think that's what
At
happens
the point,
though.
yeah, at the point, you're going to be so
I think it
numb
dulls
to
your
all.
senses
Yeah.
because like your body is just like, wait, I don't need to like provide the stimulus because this isn't a real situation. You know, it's not real. And so I don't know. It is weird to think about on that end.
It's just like developing a tolerance.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a bunch of those TikToks and reels where it's like how to tell if your humor's gone, and it's like the dumbest, funniest stuff. But if you don't like laugh, then it's like your
Or
humor's
like
gone.
the laugh level ones.
Yeah.
Laugh level hard. Or
I will tell you that it is. Austin knows, like, it's really hard to make me like actually laugh out loud. Like I may smile, I may smirk at something, but to like actually get me like rolling laughing. And that's why I think I love
Like
laughing
sober?
so hard. Huh?
sober.
Yeah, sober. Even high though, it is hard to get me like rolling laughing high. Because I mean, I get high pretty much like every night, but the only times I've been rolling laughing is usually a group because it's like it's a funny situation, like when Aubrey chipped her tooth, or when Derek thought that everyone's hands were like not his wife's. That video, you know, or the time that Aubrey and I were recording on the cruise, and I like could not keep it together. I don't even remember what it was. You've seen the clips where I'm like,
I don't think so.
we're recording for the cruise. I showed you, and I'm recording her, and she's like, stop laughing, and I'm like shaking because I can't stop laughing, and she's
I
like,
I don't know if I've
I'll
seen
have
that.
to find it. It's hilarious. It was the cruise we went on with our friends that worked on the cruise ship, and then we got like our own room.
Oh,
it's that
okay.
same cruise video, but yeah. I love laughing, but like it takes a lot to get me laughing. But
I was laughing pretty hard the other night when we were watching Wade do the.
Dude,
oh, I was
VR.
dying at that
I was
too.
fucking dead.
in the ping
Yes.
pong, dude.
Wade. I was like, Wade, you have to actually hit him. He was like,
Dude,
I don't
Wade,
know if you
softest
went,
punches.
were you and Eddie up there? I don't know if you were up there.
they weren't up there for the ping pong
I wasn't up there for ping pong.
So when Wade first put it on, he was just stuck on a loading screen.
for 5 minutes.
And dude,
bro.
he just sat there for like 5 minutes on the loading screen. He's just like, whoa, like look at this, man. He's like, and we were just dying because we knew it was like the game froze. So he just thought it was loading, and he was just like sitting there like doing all this shit. And we were just like, hey Wade, like, are you okay, man? He's like, yeah, I'm waiting for it to load. And we're like, bro, it's frozen. Like the shit's not working.
I couldn't get over the fact that like Eddie couldn't get out of the elevator. I guess it
yeah.
really blows my mind that
Wait,
people.
what?
It makes it real
Huh?
Oh,
on the
On the
plane.
virtual reality.
I thought you meant this one. I was like,
No, the virtual reality. Like it really blows my
so
mind
high.
that like people can't like disconnect the fact that like you're in a game versus like it's not real. Like you're standing on solid ground, bro. Like you could literally get on the plank and then put your foot out and still feel the ground.
Yeah.
So
I know.
It just
I
feels
think it's
so
just
real.
Like, yes, it like triggers something in your brain to make it feel real. And I didn't expect it either.
It's all the stimulation too, because there's the sound and then like
yeah, you hear the cars honking,
Yeah.
you hear
Yeah.
like wind and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
I ended up jumping, but it took me a while, and I was just like, wow, this is it. Just the sensation of it.
and you saw me, like I literally walked out and jumped like right away.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all didn't get to see what I saw, but I literally walked onto the plank and was like, okay, jump off.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to see what it was like, but
I think I was like letting myself
feel it,
kind of like
get into
Because
it.
when I jumped off the plank, I was like just
Yeah,
still
nervous,
focusing,
yeah.
and then when I hit the ground, I just felt like a sensation in my body, and I was like, well, that was fucking weird.
yeah.
yeah, my hands are sweating.
But yeah, I
thinking
mean,
about
if you
Not
go
gonna
into
do
it like, oh, this is just a game, like whatever, then yeah, I guess it's easier. But
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to jump, so I needed my mind to know that it was
You
just a
didn't let
game.
yourself,
So,
yeah.
but I don't know if I would. I feel like another thing too is like, I know y'all probably been playing video games a lot, but I literally started playing video games when I was like, I mean, I really want to say like 9 or 10, you know, and
don't play video games.
yeah, and so like I feel like
I
I've
probably
been,
started around like 8 or 9 too.
yes, I feel like I've been immersed in that
Yeah.
digital world so much of my life that like it's so easy for me to just be like, real, not real, not real. You know, I've played virtual reality simulators. I've played all that stuff.
That was my first time actually doing a VR thing though.
Oh, really?
crazy.
You haven't gone to like a place where you put them. I've been to one where you put it on and you're
like-
wearing a
like in a
vest
theme
and you're
park,
like,
yeah.
and you're like running on the.
I've
I've
seen
been
a
in like
TikTok
those
like
big ones.
that where they were doing like a zombies thing and the dude was sprinting on it. It was so funny.
Yeah, because it's really cool. I
saw
think
that.
that's really dope because then it's like
feel
Derek, he would outrun you. You know, like he would just like start sprinting.
Oh,
and
like
you'd be
it takes into
Yeah.
account, like how fast you're moving.
Bro, you're
Yeah,
on like
100%.
a 360 treadmill.
Yeah. So when you
strapped in.
turn and you start running, it measures like how far you're pushing and everything.
We
So,
should go do one and just like race or something on it.
like,
Let's just race outside.
You'd win. Like I'm not gonna do that.
I just want to see it.
But we could.
I just wanna
I
see
would
race
be,
in the- we
I
got a
bet you I'd
strip.
win in the shooting. I'm a good aim. So
You gotta-
I'm pretty good shot.
I've just been doing a lot. You know, in the military we had to shoot like all the time. So,
We
but
just go shoot skeet
I'll skeet.
in the country.
Only shot a gun once.
Okay, we got 10 minutes. So
All
let's
right.
do this.
Yeah, let's go ahead and
I got
get this.
a good Brad said no more dirty would you rather.
Well, it's not dirty. I just think that I like the ones that actually make me think, because both of them I'm just
I
like,
got
well, I
you.
don't really want to
got you.
like shoot pickles out my nose or corn cobs out my butthole, you know?
All right.
I'd take the pickles.
Would you rather go into the past and No, I'm just kidding. Would you rather go into the past
Yes.
and meet your ancestors? Go into the past and meet your ancestors,
That's pretty good.
or go into the future and meet your great-great-grandchildren?
Go into the future and meet my great-great-grandchildren. That's what I'd rather do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it would also give you an idea of like what's going on, like as far as like,
Just because you want to see the future.
yeah, a little bit. Also, I'd like to see, like, I already know, like, well, I know a little bit about my ancestors. Got to find out if my grandchildren, great-grandchildren, were going to be little shitheads or not.
Yeah.
Like, what if you go to the future and they're like absolutely in a terrible situation? You're like, dang, I need to stop having kids. Like, I need to stop this situation. Like,
I'm gonna go ancestors.
Yeah. Why?
I've always thought kind of like, I guess that time period has been interesting.
Mm.
And just to see, I guess, how advanced and stuff it is for that time period, I guess.
Yeah. I
Or
would,
how non-advanced it was.
yeah. I would do ancestors too,
really?
just because I enjoy history. I like
Yeah.
learning. I'd like to know like where exactly like I came from, or like my.
Yeah, my
I
family
mean, I've
doesn't
definitely
know.
done like the ancestry stuff and like traced our lineage, but it's like, it's really cool to know that like we're like from Europe, you know, or like Germany. And it's like, okay, like how far does that go? Like,
Yeah, I may not even leave America, though,
Yeah.
because my ancestors are Native American. So
possibly.
I guess it depends on how far you went back, because there is a time like we can't trace it anymore.
Right.
We did the Ancestry.com thing, and like you can't trace it anymore because of the Trail of Tears and things like that were going on against Native Americans. Like they like literally just like stops, you know? So
Well, I would like,
you know, that would be interesting. But I think I would, I don't know, I'd really like to see what happens in the future.
it's like, what if I'm related to like Genghis Khan, bro?
Probably.
Or like Alexander the Great? Yeah, I guess it depends on like how far you can go back. I mean, go back to like, you know.
I'd go
kinda
back
cool.
to 1800. That'd be cool.
I also don't plan on having kids, so I won't have any great.
Yeah, exactly. That was the
That's true.
easy
It
one
makes it easy for you. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. It'd be interesting.
Hypothetically, I could see that as well. Like just seeing like what the future is like, and like, I guess if you did good.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I say. Like, especially if I hadn't had Scarlet yet, and then you go to the future, and it's like your family's in like dire hardships. It's like a terrible life. You're like, maybe I don't want to have
Or your
kids because
fucking
I don't want
kid
this.
is like the next Hitler.
Oh my gosh, that'd be terrible.
You're in a castle and
What was that Netflix
You
show?
find
It
out
was
they're
like,
fucking like mass. You know,
genocide.
they're like they're literally
Not
in the
safe for
history
work
books as like being like one of the worst people ever, you know, and you're like, oh no,
Yeah.
I've made a mistake.
Yeah. Let me get a vasectomy, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and not do that. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think that I would like the future one the most though.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. Your answer makes sense.
Yeah.
And then obviously, I mean, your answer makes sense, but you wouldn't want to see what
Where
you
do
and
you-
Selena produced, what
does it go back
lineage,
to like
you know?
Czech? Is it,
yeah, check.
okay.
And then my mom's dad came from Spain.
Okay.
See, I think it is also y'all's are cooler. Like I'm just like, we all know what Native Americans, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're native.
Yeah, they were here.
Hardcore German, buddy.
Hardcore.
I guess it would be cool to
Schnitzel.
like see like where did the Native Americans come from? You
Yeah.
know, like how did this all? You know, because I mean, there is like this area that I just don't understand. Like, how did?
Pangea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, show me Pangea then. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, okay, if we're going back, yeah, I want to
Yeah.
go fucking as far as we could.
Yeah, it'd be cool. I guess if you could like sit there and like go onto the timeline and then just watch, and the same thing go forward on the timeline and like watch, then it would be pretty cool. But obviously, you could gain a lot from watching the future. Like you could obviously do really well.
Yeah.
For yourself, because me, I'm over here. How do I make money off of watching the future?
Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'm betting on something. But yeah, no, that's a really good one. I like that.
Got
Like
you.
that.
You guys want to think? We'll think, all right?
Okay,
We like the thinkers.
okay. Well, that's it.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Didn't come for the grandkids, came to see the economy. That's what-
I know, really.
yeah, just trying to see where I need to put my money to set up my grandkids for life. What's the next? Where's the next Apple or
Yeah.
Google or something? You know, it's
No
like
flying cars yet?
Yeah.
yeah, you go to the future and there's like some brand you've never heard of that's just like huge, and like all of a sudden like 10 years from now you hear the brand's name and you're like, yeah, 100,000 on that brand, 100,000.
Or it's just like fucking Apple has taken over the entire world, and it's like,
Well, then I know I need to
Everything
drop
is-
all my money in Apple right now.
Everything's Apple.
Yeah.
Apple cars.
Yeah, you actually don't drive anywhere. You just airdrop yourself to the next location. You're Apple. You're an Apple product.
like Futurama. You know, they
Yeah.
suck them up the little tubes.
Yeah, you just airdropped from one place to the next. You wear this Apple suit and it just like airdrops to your location.
It's like a tube.
That'd be insane.
Everyone has an iPhone, so you just like you can. That's how you can transfer locations through everyone's iPhones. Brad will go to the future and see flying cars. Maybe I doubt. I just don't think that flying cars is going to work. It just
Not in our lifetime.
I just want to bring it up.
Yeah, no.
It would be very hard to be like you weren't in your lane. You know what I mean? So it's just like I just don't feel like people are ready for that. But you know what?
I don't think there'll be flying cars because we're all going into the fucking metaverse. So
Exactly. No one's going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
We're all going to be in our little caves.
It is weird to think about like things like the Jetsons and like where they thought future would be. Mm-hmm. On some things they were like spot on, and then some things they were just like way off of.
Like the robot maids, robot cleaners and shit.
Well, I mean they do have some like AI robot stuff coming out. Yeah. Well, and they had cell phones.
They got robot vacuums right now. They got robot vacuums right now.
That's what I'm saying.
But they have like legitimate like AI like people like made type things that they're working on, like the ability to like literally like bring you things.
I'm
and
waiting
things like
for
that.
the fucking laundry that you throw in and then it washes, dries it, and folds it like all in one.
I did see a house the other day that
Bro, that's what I'm waiting for. Come on.
I can tell you've been drying your
It's
shirt because
2021.
that logo's coming off.
That's good. It's not coming off. It's motive.
it's starting to crack. I saw a house the other day where someone had a chute where you could like you opened up your hamper in your closet and when you put it in there, it went down to the laundry room.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've never seen that?
No.
Really?
Do you have one?
Seen that like
At my
movies.
house.
That's like
in Iowa we have one.
they have those in like really old
that like literally takes it from your closet to the laundry room?
Yeah. And there's a basket at the bottom of the chute.
never
and my
seen,
mom
like-
does that and takes it to the washer.
Doesn't
we don't
isn't
have
like
that.
Home Alone? He hides in like you've never seen where they hide in like the little like
Yeah.
laundry chute.
Yeah, but I've just never seen a house that had one like this. This one had like a vacuum chute thing, and it just like
Oh, it vacuumed it.
well,
Usually
it
it's
like
like- it's
sucks
like a-
it
like a
through.
drop,
No,
not
this
a
is
suction.
no every room in the house, every closet,
Okay.
would just be able to drop it in there, and it all
Just
goes
open
there.
the door and you throw it out in the
Yeah.
chute. Yeah.
But it's only for your mom's room, right? Your parents' room, or is it every closet in
It's
your
in
house?
like our main room upstairs.
Okay, so what I'm saying is like every closet in this house, you could drop the laundry in, and it
Yeah.
like directed it through there. And then I have seen the house with like central vacuuming now. Have you seen that? Where like every room has a vacuum cord, and you pull it out of the wall, and you vacuum it up, and then you close
cool.
it, and it has like so you don't have a
I
vacuum
don't want to
cleaner,
do that.
huh?
I don't want to do that.
Yeah. You don't want to vacuum.
Well, I mean, if it clogs, it's going to be a bitch. It's in your walls,
Yeah,
you
that
know?
would
So that's
suck.
why I was just like, but anyway. All right. Well, hope you guys enjoyed the B.A.D podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you all next week.
See ya.
Bye.